Bloc Party are one of the biggest bands in the noughties, spanning over decades of producing and making more music, and making so much music between the indie and post-punk era. From releasing about 6 albums, about 6 or 7 albums, they have become a real big group. And quite recently, they've been supporting Paramore on their tour as well. And now they're back with another new album coming up really, really soon. And what a great way to celebrate the most brilliant music as possible and bringing back an old content of mine that I really, really enjoyed doing. And what a great way to start it off with my absolute favourite band of all time, Bloc Party. And today, guys, we are going to be looking into the band's music style, the personal history of the band's music, and the history behind each of their albums, and how their music starts, how they start writing their music, and absolutely everything. And with Bloc Party, they are the most biggest indie rock bands of the noughties, and they still carry on making great music. And today, guys, we are diving in our very first ever artist review for such a long time of Bloc Party. Hello everybody, please mind if you see a little bit less light. My selfie lamp is broken, damaged and everything else. I'm going to just throw it to the tip, and everything else, it's not working anymore. So I don't really have a stand, but I'm not throwing it away because I need a stand. I really, really need a stand. So you don't see me having no hands or anything else. So yes, sorry I haven't been making a lot of YouTube quite recently. I've been quite busy with a lot of things. I've been traveling to Spain quite a lot. And while I was in Spain, I really do miss making artist reviews of big bands. I really do miss them. And there's been a couple that I've been wanting to do. And there's another artist review that is coming next week, because I'm writing all the notes down and everything else. And then there will be another one, and then another one. So let's start off doing artist reviews on Saturday. So you guys have got a video each Saturday of an artist review that I'm going to do. So come back every Saturday. There will be artist review Saturday and everything else. And I have missed doing them. So I've done it a little bit differently. So instead of doing a straightforward review of all of their albums and everything else, I'm going to give you a bit of the research of each of their music behind the album and everything. So yeah, and that will be like, and some of them will be my opinion, and everything else still the same old stick, but I'm adding a little bit of research into the mix. So you guys have got some really good knowledge about how these albums were made and everything else. The normal regular how these albums were made is just jamming through. So yeah, but anyway, I'm really missed doing this. Let's get on to their discography of Bloc Party. So album number 1 from 2005 is Silent Alarm. A Weekend in the City in 2007, my favourite album of all time. Intimacy 2008. 2012, Hymns in 2016, and their most recent album that they released in 2022 is Alpha Games. And listening to Alpha Games was just amazing, so amazing. But I will get to that on the end of the video. Before we get on to the review of the albums, I just want to throw my disclaimer that I mean absolutely no disrespect to anybody who I talk about in this video. This is all educational purposes, and I gathered information from the internet and combined to one video, and gathering my experience and put it and mix it up into one video. There are a few content warnings that we will be talking about. We will be talking about war and LGBT plus community. Well, no wait, there's a new word term. LGBTQ plus issues as well. So if you're not ready to hear this review, I'm please shut down. And if I got that bit wrong, I do apologize. I am trying. So please no cancellation on people. Let's keep it all peace and love and everything else. Every time we fact checked our resources and information, no action will be taking place against the artist and the artist alone. And just to let you know, this is an artist work. So keep the comment section all peace and love and lovely and jubbly. All opinions are stated and mine alone. And before we get into the video, I just want to give out some announcement that I am just released a podcast called Let's Talk About Books, the podcast. So it's all in there. And also Let's Talk About Theatre as well. I just released one episode of it, of Joe Orton. I think it's Joe Orton's work. So it's all on there. So it's like a guide to playwriters. So you can see all of my knowledge about playwriters and everything. So you can go and check that out, and everything else is all in there. So all being said, let's get on to my first artist review since a while of Bloc Party. So let's get on to the first album of Bloc Party. So Bloc Party is first album by Bloc Party in 2005. That is Silent Alarm. So for this album, Bloc Party has aimed to make the album more appealing for many listeners. So they're always trying to find different materials, different styles and everything else. And if you know about the lead singer Kel, he always trying to find different materials that he likes to use into his albums. He always likes to toy around and everything else. He likes to toy around with some of the stuff he always does. And he's just an incredible artist. Like, he's a really good lead singer and a really good songwriter as well. He always like to be completely original and everything else. The band for this album have released some couple of influences in the past. So the major ones they use is Joy Division, Gang of Four, The Cure, and Sonic Youth. Sonic Youth might be an artist review. From all the artists you mentioned, if you want me to do an artist review, please comment down below, and I will try and do that as possible. The band have impact a political view for this album, especially for the Iraq War and global protesters in the early 2000s. And even with Bloc Party, they are very anti-war haters. They don't agree with war. They have stated in their lyrics, like Helicopter, about anti-war and everything else. It's just something they really were protesting on and everything else. And also the price of gas was stated in their lyrical content as well. Like, they were showing off their political beliefs on war and the cost of living and everything. And they don't really display that. They didn't really talk about it in their interviews, but in their other interview, they have been really stating about political war and everything. Also with Silent Alarm, it's a reflection on personal issues, personal experiences and urban life that Kel liked to explore throughout his music. And he really pushed the boundaries by talking about it and everything else. He talks about his personal experience in life in general, and he also with personal experiences as well throughout my ink is just, there was a problem with my ink on my notepad. I'm sorry about that. But he did talk about personal experiences, like in the song called This Modern Love, which is talking about modern relationships and it's also one of my favourite songs as well on the album, by the way. But he also talks about modern relationships and modern life and everything. And can you stop messaging me when I'm recording a video? Sorry about that. And so yeah, he just likes talking about relationships as well. And even the song was played in, if you remember that song, if you remember this song, if you ever watched the film of Saltburn, um, that song was featured. That song was featured, and I thought it was the best decision they picked on, because it actually relates to modern relationships and everything. It's such a great film, and I love Saltburn. Always like to watch it again. No. Those one of the films you should watch it. Just watch it separately. Just watch it on its own, and that's it. You don't need to revisit it. The director is that good. You don't need to rewatch it again. Sorry, but anyway, the personal experiences with the album Silent Alarm does explore is alienation, relationships, and struggles of young adulthood in a metropolitan. I think that's how you say the word. Metropolitan setting, and it really just explores that motive and everything else. And then it also explores the contemporary music scene in the early 2000s, which has a resurgence of interest of post-punk revival and indie rock. Because during that time, like indie rock, when we talk about indie rock, if we're in the 90s, if we talk about indie rock, we think about Britpop, like Oasis or The Strokes or anything else. That's what mainly people talk about. And now indie rock came in the picture with post-punk revival coming into the mix. It's an interest for some bands wanting to use post-punk, Like when we talk about post-punk, we think about Blink-182, Sum 41, You Me at 6, all those bands now. But we think about post-punk is like that rebellion and everything, that strong rebellion that we always listen to and everything else. So, and lastly, about the Silent Alarm, it talks about the artistic movements of the album that Bloc Party uses for their lyrical themes, their lyrical content, is the cultural aspects of the album, make including growing interest with more introspective and experimental approaches into indie rock. Like when they wrote the album, they've been jamming through with lyrics and displaying themes and everything else, and really pinpoint the themes of the album they use. And here are my actual review that I really do like about this album. So my actual review of the album, I loved it. It's my favorite one of my absolute favorites from Bloc Party, because it really displayed about the themes about anti-war, and especially with Helicopter, which is my jam. Love it. And this Modern Love is just give you that story about relationships and that connection as well. Funnily enough, I listened to that album on my final year of uni, and I have to walk up a hill called Steep Hill. If you live in Lincoln, oh my god, why there's no something to walk up Steep Hill easier. You have to walk up really, really steep. It makes you sweat more. I had to yeah, anyway, it was snowing on that it was just started to snow. And when it has that dun 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 dun, there's modern love, dun dun dun, I can see snow drifting away, and the sound is so fitting for that snowing setting, and I just love it. I just like that music that gives me that. But I feel like this Modern Love did explore the themes of love, intimacy, and the complex of modern romances, and it fills that relatable void for the audience. Also, I love the post-punk rock themes that they put in, because it felt so engaging. You just want to dance and jump and rave and everything else. I love that. For the lyrical context of the album, I felt it connects really, really well. Like songs like Blue Light and Here We Are. The lyrics in there, it's just displayed really, really well. Luna is another great song I really like. When I listened to Complaints, there was a moment of silence in there when I was listening to Complaints or Compliments. I think it's, yeah, Compliments. Yeah, sorry, Compliments. There was this moment of silence, and then it goes straight into the music of the outro. And I thought, when I was listening to that, I was like, what was that? Why did he do that for? I think they've done that for an experimental approach, because they're very experimental. So I really loved that. I loved that aspect, and I thought that was absolutely brilliant. So the next album is A Weekend in the City 2007. So Weekend in the City 2007 is their second album in 2007. I've been saying that so many times. With more polish and experimental sound. So they've been, from that, they had a bit of a gap in between, and they decided, let's go experimental with this next album and polish the music up and everything else, and go straight into straightforward, more experimental. So they really took it seriously, and the bands they were seriously influenced by the social issues and urban life, because the lyrical content is deeply rooted through the experience, especially for the lead singer, because during that time that Kel was wrote the album, he came out as gay. That's what I believe. So when I was researching it, Kel has came out gay, especially with the song called I Still Remember, which it explores the emotional aspects of human experience. And I think he did. And this is what he mentioned. Not really. I guess partly we can call it a gay love story. I Still Remember is like an LGBTQ plus story that Kel has written for, but he based it on his own experience, because he has came out as a gay man. And that I will give you my actual opinion right now about that song. It is absolutely beautiful how it was written. It was a great story, which I will explain later. And he explored that story in great respect and great integrity. That's the correct word. And he also quoted as well on here, it's one person longing for somebody that they can't really have, but it's not consummate. It's not a mutual thing. So from those quotes on and everything else, it is a really hard thing, like when people do come out as gay or bi and everything. It is a really, really hard thing for somebody to do that. And even when you live through yourself that you may believe you are straight, but you actually think, I believe I am gay and everything. And what Kel wrote it on, wrote that song, it's just so personal. It was brilliant, and it's really, really good. And that's how he talks about social and social issues that he went through as well. even the album does explore social issues, it also explores the it does explore political matters like terrorism. So if we hear the song called Hunting for Witches, that song was actually focusing on the terrorist attacks that happened in New York with 9/11, and also in 2005 the the London bombings that has happened as well. And they took that song and wrote that song about hunting for witches, hunting for terrorists, and everything. It's just such a great song, a really great catchy song. When I first found that research, looked into that research and everything for from hunting for witches, I thought, wow, that's really interesting. And the research for I Still Remember, sorry if I didn't really make any sense on that one, but I clear it out. I was really drawn about it in a personal note. It's a really great song, and I thought that song was well written and everything else, and it was really interesting to learn about it. And here are my personal opinions of this album alone. My actual view of the album, I loved it. It's a classic album. It was actually the first album I listened to back in the day when I was at school. I really loved it. It's my favourite. Me and my brother first listened to The Prayer by Bloc Party, and it's, oh my god, it's one of my absolute favourites because it's the first song I listened to, and I just loved it so much. I loved the indie rock vibes in this album. It's just so fitting and everything else, especially for Kel, who came out as gay and wrote this album in such a personal level. I thought, wow, he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant for writing this beautiful album. It's such a great track. Hunting for Witches, my favourite. I love that. Really love that, how he wrote that album. It's just so good. On is another song that I like as well. That was a nice track as well. But my all-time favourite, I have to say, my all-time favourite for the album alone is Flux, because that was the first time I actually started liking Bloc Party and everything, with the music, with the dance beats and everything else. Oh my god, it just felt really good. And it's just so good. I really love the album alone. Definitely my top 5 of all time, with Hunting for Witches, on Flux, and As I Still Remember. That was a really great track, and I really loved listening to that story that Kel put in, and the storytelling that he used in the lyrical context in the songs are so good. He's a really good songwriter. Like, I really admired him as a songwriter, because he displays his personal issues and displayed all of them into one song, and it's just so fitting, honestly. And the music enhanced the storytelling. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And let's get on to the next album, and that is Intimacy, 2009. So Intimacy is another album that unfortunately had mixed reviews. Never do a mixed review on Bloc Party, ever. They're brilliant. My mixed review is a positive one. I'm on the positive side. For the other people who talk negatively, how dare you? I'm joking, you know that. I'm only jokes. I'm joking. So, but the album itself explores more personal relationships and turmoil. I try and look into research about other issues that they put in, but all I got is the personal issues they have. But this is the themes that they focus on. They focus in the themes of love, betrayal, and heartbreak. And I think it's another one. No. So again, this album focuses on the personal relationships They have. I think they separated themselves away from the more of the political side and more of the anti-war and everything, and then focusing on what's the social experiences like relationships and everything. So they focusing more on them, and they kept away from the political stuff. And I think it's a nice thing that the band did, especially Kel. I like hearing albums that are more like personal based and entertainment and everything else, and it's good that he's keeping away from the more of the political side, because even it's good to be politically correct, but overhearing it through entertainment sides like movies, television, music, and books, you just want a nice escapism, more entertainment. Let's not talk about political correctness. Let's focus on something different. Okay, it's a nice way. I'm not dissing on people who are politically correct or anything else, but I just thought maybe don't put it in more in the entertainment side. People are trying to escape from the political correctness and just trying to enjoy something is good. That's what I mean. But no, with Bloc Party, they did exactly like that. They kept away from it and everything else. And I think that it was their last album they have released. And then, because I remember when I first heard of that album, they went off somewhere. They just disappeared. And then Cal came back to do his solo career, which he was incredible. I love his solo work and everything else. Even they're more dancey, but it's experimental. So, but even the album itself, it was more about the dancey elements and everything. It was more, they focused more dance and indie, and it's a good compilation, to be honest. When I first heard that album, it's a good compilation. But anyway, here's why with my thoughts. What I really like about this album is the compilation of dance and indie mixed well together. I thought when I listened to it, it was absolutely brilliant. It really connected with the themes of relationships perfectly, especially my Mercury that that's so great. My Mercury is retro. I think that's how they pronounce the lyrics right. But no, what I really do like about the album itself and the album alone has that really nice connection and that really nice display about relationships and everything else. I just thought, oh my god, it's my jam. But when I first listened to that album before, I love it. I absolutely love it so much. It has that really nice connection, it has that really nice dancey theme, and you just want to rave for that song. Like, yeah, I want to rave that song. I want to rave. But this one is just brilliant. I just loved it in all out in honesty. I just thought Mercury is good. 1 month off, another rave track. I really loved it. When I listened to that song, I was in Spain. I was in Spain when I was listening to whole entire Bloc Party. I just love Bloc Party. But I was listening to that song and I was in a shopping market in, if you're from Spain, you probably know, called La Torre Golf in the Spa shop. And I was like, and there was a couple like right next to me was like, I think he's in a rave. But honestly, it was a great shot. I feel the album was brilliant because it was truthful to its themes about relationships, and the lyrical content was very cleverly well done. And I thought that it is brilliant. I didn't have much to say anything bad about it. I kind of understand the negative side, the reason why it got mixed reviews because of the dancey elements in. But I think dance and indie rock really do mix well together. I think it really fits really well. So, and let's crack on with 4. So, this album marks their return into their raw rock orientated sound since their electric sound back in Intimacy, which personal, again, I still like Intimacy. I thought Intimacy was really good. You know, I'm going to collect all those songs on vinyl. I'm going to collect all of them on vinyl, and a news just came on my Apple Watch. I don't know why, but yeah. Anyway, crack on with the yeah. But no, I actually the album explores more on the personal experience with personal growth. The band has hit hiatus to where Kel went solo, and then the rest of the band went off and had some personal space to get together to reflect on the past and rebuild their creative procession, and which I think it does make a lot of sense. With like a lot of bands do that, they have a bit of a gap in between and have and start making their own stuff while the lead singer does a solo tour, or any of the band members went on tour with other groups. It's like The Feeling with the guitarist. He when The Feeling are not making any albums or go on tours or anything else, their guitarist goes on tour with his wife, who is Sophie Ellis-Bextor, and she's the one who sang Murder on the Dance Floor and everything. I actually went to see her live in Nottingham, and she was amazing. I love Sophie Ellis-Bextor so good much, and I was quite close to her, and so it was like, oh, it's really good. So yeah, I really do like Sophie Ellis-Bextor. Anyway, but she will be my next artist review, by the way. I am thinking of listening to her music and everything. So yeah, and anyway, anyway, bands do that. They do go off on their separate ways and everything. It's like another band I'm doing an artist review on, which is called Kings of Leon as well. Kings of Leon, they have a break, but the lead singer doesn't do a album on his own or anything else. He just goes off and everything else. That's what Bloc Party did. They go off on their own to sort with family or anything else, and then rebuild some more creative side, because you need that gap in between. You need that personal space for the next couple of years before you come up with another material for your next album. They're not like splitting up or anything else. It's just how bands work. It's like another example, ABBA. They did split up, but they didn't actually have a fallout or anything else. All they ever did is just split up because they couldn't find enough material to do a major comeback or anything else, and they have been like distant away from each other or anything else. They have been friends. That, I'm not gonna lie, they're not hate each other or anything else. They just like gone off in their own separate ways, and they still in contact with each other, but they couldn't think of enough material for their other comeback until Voyage was invented, and that was a really sick album, to be honest. They worked really hard. I hope they will do another album together, because they are still amazing band. Anyway, let's crack on with Bloc Party. I went on a bit, but they went through a range of influences of different genres, like punk, grunge, hard rock, with inspirations from the likes of Nirvana, Pixies, and another band which I'm just going to put it just there because I can't pronounce it and I don't want to be disrespectful or anything. And they just went through, it always again talk about personal experiences and human relationships as well, and with the different genres of grunge, hard rock, indie rock, everything, and with the use of those influences. I can really tell when I listen to that album, I hint a little bit of Nirvana kicking in, a little bit of Nirvana and everything else, and I thought, wow, this is amazing album. And here are my thoughts about the album. So my actual thoughts of the album, I think it's a good return. It's a really good change and everything else, because it's good to explore different styles of music. It's really good to explore different styles and genres and everything else. For another example, with Lady Gaga, she explores more the pop music and then a little bit of the rock, and then she switches to jazz as well. It's like Beyonce. We've done Beyonce's album, Cowboy Carter. She explored on the Renaissance album of Renaissance, and then Renaissance Part 1, which is Cowboy Carter, which is all country, and then the last one she did it was like more dance and disco and everything else. And again, like I said, I really like her to do a rock album, or even better, if she can nail it, that will be perfect, opera or new age. I can actually see her doing opera, because anyway, it was a really good thing that Bloc Party, what they did back then, had that separation of making more music for themselves and everything else. It gives out a very positive separation, so they can focus on creating new stuff. They didn't purposely broke up, they just went on a hiatus and then come back with new music and everything else. They have changed band members since then, but there was only Kel and their guitarist, who is still inactive with the band and everything else. They just had new members. Even they had a female drummer who is absolutely amazing drummer, by the way. She's absolutely incredible. I really like Real Talk and Kettling. They're really, really great tracks. The lyrical content in the albums were absolutely incredible, because it really fits in with the themes that they were talking about into the album. When you're making an album like that, you got to keep it all in linking with the themes and the inspirations you want to use it on, and they really did it really well in a real great personal level. I really like VALIS, I think, or TS, but it was a really great track. We Are Not Good People brought out a real serious grunge tone, real grunge, and oh my god, it was full of fun mix. I can actually see a little bit of ska playing a little bit in there, a little bit of ska and everything else. I thought that was perfect. It reminded me of a little bit of Madness in there. Yeah, I went to see them live. They were amazing, but yeah, I can hint a little bit of Madness playing, a little bit of the Specials playing. I thought it was a really great track, to be honest. It was full of fun. I loved that album. Anyway, let's move on to Hymns in 2016. So Hymns 2016 is this album again. Bloc Party went back onto electric sounds and added a little bit of a gospel element into it. With Bloc Party's major influences is Kel's aspiration of healing as it explores faith, religion and spirituality. And so this album really talks about the religion side of things of the album. It really talks about the healing process and everything, and it gives out that real nice tone into it. This brought a major impact into their content with the album as well, and towards the introspective and the complex tone of the sound. And because with Bloc Party, they were always known for their indie rock vibes or their heavy rock vibes as well, or their dancey elements. But this one was kind of different in a way, and really brought that difference in, because like what Bloc Party I just mentioned, they don't want just to keep on to indie rock, even they're really good with indie rock and everything. They just want to explore different styles or genres. It's like with different bands that we're going to be also talking about, like Sophie Ellis-Bextor, for an example. She explores different styles of genres of music and everything else. But with Bloc Party, they just want to be separated from just this ordinary indie rock, indie post-punk group. They want to be like different styles of music, not pop or anything else, just different styles of rock music they want to focus on. But they will also adding in a little bit of dance element into it as well. That's what they always enjoy doing. And here are my actual thoughts of hymns. So with hymns, this has to be, I'm not gonna lie, I love A Weekend in the City, I love All Intimacy, but this album alone is my most favourite of Bloc Party history. And I'll tell you why. It explores a real strong message about spirituality that is not really done before in indie rock groups. Like, if you hear about spirituality, you probably hear new age music like Enya and all these other great composers like Hammock as well. They explore more about spirituality as well. And I think it's a band called Explosions in the Sky as well. They explore a lot of spirituality music as well. But with Bloc Party, they want to go different. And I thought that their approach was just excellent. Different Drugs is actually my most favourite song because the lyric content in there is so good and it's so excellent as well. So real, great track. So is X's as well. Because those tracks really does explore the spirituality, the religion, the fate, and it's had that such a personal level on Kel's performance as well as a singer and guitarist, because he wants to explore those themes as well. He wants to break out and said, this album is all about me, and talk about spirituality. And it's something like it's good to talk about, that level of spirituality that Kel talked through. And I just love his songwriting and his music creation as well. Music creation is so good. And then we get to the final album so far, but we're not the final album of this on this channel. There will be, if Bloc Party release a new album, we will listen to it, and then, I will listen to it and I will review it. So yeah, this is their final album, latest album, I mean. So Alpha Games, the album has been described by many critics as exciting. The influences that album was drawn into were a variety of other things like technology, dystopian themes, the evolving nature of society. Bloc Party came back and do more political stuff in resulting with technology. So with the rise of AI, the rise of how technology really controls the mind. This is what the themes they really talk about in this album was so great. They were influenced by the advantage of technology, how technology would take over a mind. Like, technology is always very good in this generation. Like, we're always very drawn. There's always a phrase that your mind's a prison through your phone and everything else. Like, I couldn't ever live without my phone. If my phone went missing, I will have a big panic attack. Like, where to go? All my contacts is on there. And when people say, what about go back in time when you, how you would contact your parents and everything? And I'm like, I would literally find a payphone, but all the payphones are gone, and I can't remember my own number. I only remember the house phone number. I only know the house number, and that's it. I can't just remember anything else. But, if I ask somebody in the street, can I just borrow your phone just to call somebody? They would just say, no, mate. Or even worse, piss off, mate. or anything, I'll piss off. I'm too scared to ask someone their phone number. You know, I'm really, really that scared. But no, with dysposium themes as well, again, it talks about all the political issues that Bloc Party always like to use it on and everything else. They really, really talk this through and everything. And the technology advances, they talk through about digital surveillance, social media, and the increasing relevance of technology in everyday life. Like I just mentioned, AI, because with AI we could literally say absolutely anything. If we ask AI to recreate Winnie the Pooh in a science fiction setting, they will develop that. They will develop that. I don't know why I mentioned about Winnie the Pooh or anything else. I don't know why I mentioned about Winnie the Pooh. I think it's just an example. Or if I asked about Stranger Things, to write a fan fiction of Stranger Things or anything else, AI would create that. Or a fan fiction of, I just saw a poster of Dermot Kennedy, and I was like, write a fan fiction of Dermot Kennedy or anything. They would write that. George Ezra as well. AI would do that for you. It will do that for you. I even tried it out on writing a jazz song, and they will write a song for you. And this is what Bloc Party like to explore about the advantages that we have with technology, how we use our phones, how we use technology as a tool. They're not saying technology is bad or anything. They're just saying that technology is like the control in our own minds. The control in our own minds. I use my phone daily for emergencies or trying to find something from my parents. If my parents say, Tom, can you just Google something? I just do it and Google will come up with it. It's the power of our technologies that Bloc Party really likes to explore. So anyway, here are my thoughts of this album. So with the album, I felt like they really, really done this very, very well. They really explore the themes of different genres, including indie rock, ska, and everything. This is how I sense, because I can sense a bit of ska playing in the mix, and also the return of indie rock as well, because they did hard rock and grunge, and then went back to techno, but then they went and returned to indie rock as they're really well known for. There are some really great tracks like Traps, Day Drinker, and Rough Justice that I feel like they really connect with the theme perfectly. I really like Peace Offering because it got a really nice message in there. I don't know what the message is. I did put down and say this. It has a really nice message in there. I thought I put it in, but I haven't. But it really displayed that real strong message about technology, and I really, really loved that, how they put in. And this is what Bloc Party does. They put really nice messages in, especially like Hunting for Witches. They've really displayed about the real political meanings and everything. And they're a really good band. I really do like them. And the lyrical content has presented it really, really well too. They present really strong phrases and everything. And they are just a really, really great band, especially for this album called Alpha Games as well. Really explored the great technology, how technology really control our minds, how we take it as an advantage point, especially AI as well. So yeah. And here's my overall opinion of Bloc Party. So my overall bravo. If I have a golden buzzer, I would just say press it or anything. Or I might just, if I was on Britain's Got Talent and I seen Bloc Party performing there, I would just go like this. that's it. Just pretend no one is noticing it. Just go like this. Boom. That's what I would do. I don't think Simon Cowell would ever put me on. But anyway, with Bloc Party, with their experimentation of indie rock, from indie rock, dance, rock, grunge, post punk. I don't know why I'm clapping. Post punk, electro, and then indie rock, back to indie rock again. I thought that was a really good mix of different albums that we listened to. And when I was watching Glastonbury this year, they didn't have any sound problems. Like, I remember Dua Lipa, Coldplay, and had the most worst sound system issues that they possibly have. And bless her bloody heart and soul, SZA had the worst ones, but she refused to mime. And I can actually tell, I was watching a bit of her performance live before, and she was so good, but her sound system was so bad. She refused to mime. So is Cyndi Lauper and Shania Twain. I mean, oh God, I nearly said Sinead or something. Shania. All those three women refused to mime because they wanted to sing live to their audience, and I thought that was a really good thing. Anyway, that's how I discovered with Bloc Party, and also I want to do an artist review on them for a long time. I feel that they really connected with their themes really, really well, and they really displayed it through their lyrical content and their music as well, and their rebellion on society. I thought they really nailed the gun right there. I really love the lead singer Kel's songwriting. I think he's a really great songwriter with great intentions and a really great creative process that he always does. Kel, if you're watching this, I love you. I really love his music. It's just so good and so excellent. I have no negatives. I know I keep saying everything is so good and all, but you know, the music is in there is great, you know. I always like to promote artists in the most positive way as possible. Even the people who never heard of Bloc Party and everything, I just think it's a great way to promote them in a very good way, you know. It's good to promote music in that way, so you can actually get used to it and everything. So I have to say, Bloc Party really impressed me, and I'm really excited what their new album is going to be, and that is it I got for this artist review. It feels so good to be coming back to do artist reviews. I have got another band coming up really, really soon, so I will be I'll be editing this video straight away. I will be going over there on my lovely sofa, writing my opinions, and possibly might be possibility of making a artist review, but I might set it as a premierise that video till this Saturday and everything. I don't know how those work when you set a schedule for the video to be sent and everything, but I'll look it up. So yeah, anyway, I have my 2 podcasts linked down below in the description. Give this video a share and a like. It's so good to be back doing artist reviews. When I did my announcement, that might possibly change, or I might pick the artist from that list. I am currently listening to a couple of bands now and everything else. I got a couple of lists as well. Some of it may change from that list of artists that I put down on, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. I have listened to Sum 41 for their tribute video because they are disbanding this year. But also there's another band who are disbanding this year, and that is the amazing Aerosmith. I was like, no, Aerosmith are splitting up. They're retiring from touring. But honestly, Steven Tyler said his vocals, he has had like problems with his vocals. I hope he get well soon as well. But I want to say a massive thank you to all you guys to see me coming back to do artist reviews. I will make it as a schedule because I love doing them. I always enjoy doing it. The only reason why I came back to doing that because I really like researching albums and everything else, and adding in research for the albums before my opinions is also making great content as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, possibly next Saturday or a little bit earlier. Stay in tune. Bye.